What if they say right away, you guys are going to go Dutch on your date since you're just getting to know each other?
Don't say it. I'll probably offer just because I'm a good person.
Listen, guys, whatever we offer, you better pay.
Exactly. And the reason that we offer is so that we don't feel guilty or whatever. And that's the reason we offer. But we 1000% never expect you to say, okay, sure. Almost worse than saying we're going Dutch up front.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Hey, I'm MJ.
And I'm Bree.
Welcome to Keeping It Casual,
A sex-positive dating and relationship advice podcast.
Yes, I'm married with 2 kids.
And I'm navigating this crazy dating world.
We're just here to share our drama.
And the wild stories of our listeners.
Your Vegas girls are here for you.
Let's do it.
Well, good afternoon, keepers.
Hello, hello.
So we have a very special guest for you. But before we get into that business at the top, we want to thank you to all of our supporters who've been rating and reviewing on Apple Podcasts, because you're getting a sick-ass giveaway from Like a Kitten, who is an incredible sponsor.
They are women-owned and operated, and Natalie and Shay always do something philanthropic in their boxes as well.
That's right. Using code KEEPERS20 will also get you 20% off anything on their website at likeakitten.com.
Also, thank you to all of our patrons. For just $5 a month, you can get one of our specialty podcasts. Go to patreon.com/keepingitcasualpodcast.
Yes. Now, we hope everyone had a nice Christmas. For our last episode of the year, we wanted to bring on a total badass to inspire you to take all those dreams you've been thinking of pursuing and finally put them into action in 2021.
Whether it's a new job, career switch, or getting something off the ground, if you aren't sure where to start, you may want a consultant to guide you. We've got the babe for you.
Yes. Now, she's a columnist and contributor for Billboard, Rolling Stone, and the international music and industry site allaccess.com, where you can read her Women to Watch and consultant tips. And FYI,
your girls Keeping It Casual podcast were the very first podcast to be featured on Women to Watch in 2020. She has over 20 years in the radio business, from on-air to an award-winning programmer. In 2012, she was inducted into the Nevada Broadcasters Hall of Fame and continues to be recognized annually as Radio Inc.'s most influential women throughout the decade.
You guys, she's here today to share how you can boss up and change your life with her consultant company, MC Media Online. Please welcome CHARESE FRUGE!
Wow. Thank you.
No, we're not done yet. No, just kidding.
Just kidding.
Oh, thank you for being here,
Thank
CHARESE.
you so much.
Are you kidding? I'm so excited. I'm flattered and I'm honored and really excited to be, the last one of 2020, helping to reel this year in and just move forward, right?
Yeah. Well, we did plan to do this one-on-one and spoil you with all the wine and steak before the episode in March, but life changed.
Can you please share a little bit of what MC Media Online can do for me or anybody?
Absolutely. I do a little bit of everything. It started off specifically as a radio consulting business for, not specifically for women, but sort of geared towards women, because obviously we know what the statistics are in the radio and broadcast business for females. I was doing anything from talent consulting, program consulting, brand management, digital management, just sort of helping people to build their brands from the ground up. I do a little bit of representation also, because as you ladies have known and experienced before, trying to negotiate a deal sometimes make you a little emotional.
Yes.
So I call it, representation without emotion. So because I have so much experience, having been a manager and a VP of programming, negotiating contracts with big level agents for big level talent, with big level agents, with big level talent. I'm not an attorney, but I can certainly read those contracts and tell you what's good, what's not, what's missing. This is how they protect themselves. Here's how we need to protect you. And it takes all of the passion from negotiation out, and it's business as usual. You know what I mean? Because if you're talent yourself, sometimes you're like, but I'm worth more than that. And you get upset. Right? So then it's up to me to go there and say, here's what this person has to offer you. Here's how this person can help you make money. Here's how this person can help you gain ratings or exposure or whatever it is you need. And, I find that to be one of the most rewarding things that I can do with MC Media, because I've been there. I've been in the business a long time, and it's tough. So a lot of agents, quote unquote, will take 10% of your salary, and it's too much money. It's ridiculous. They take it out, on a regular basis. For me, I do a one-time, small-time fee, and I do all the work and follow through, until it's done or not done. And again, I mentioned that it specifically sort of started geared towards just women, but I do represent, a couple of male clients as well. So in addition to that, as I mentioned, programming, consulting, and talent coaching, social media and social media management, having managed large brands, major market radio stations brands. I was there when streaming started, when the internet came along, so I've been doing it for a long time. So I also do have just clients outside of radio who are just trying to build their brand.
That's amazing. I think one of the hardest things is knowing what you're worth.
Yeah.
And I can only come at this actually I can come at it from a radio standpoint, because radio lowballs you, period, everywhere and in any position.
Yeah.
But from a podcast standpoint, when we come down to negotiating with our sponsors, it's like, well, because it's such the wild, wild west, it's so hard to know what you're worth.
It's very new and nobody's really doing it. So to sit down and be like, well, am I worth this or am I worth this? There's not much to compare it to. And I feel like that's how a lot of people that maybe they have new brands for things and they're like, I'm not even sure how to put a price tag on this, or I'm not even sure how to market this or package this. And I think just having a professional that's like, look, let's get some things in order. Let's see how your online presence is. Like somebody to just help you put it's almost like a business plan together to launch yourself and to negotiate yourself. That is money in the bank. And CHARESE is money in the bank, baby. Oh my God.
It's definitely like an outside perspective, because you can sit there and say, I can do this, 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 and this, but you may not know that, and I'll use an example. You're the co-host on a morning show, right?
Okay.
But you're the one doing all the digital media and you're really good at it and blah, blah, blah. And the host doesn't care because they're older or more experienced and they don't have a clue how to do it and they have no interest in doing it, but you're doing it for the show. So what happens if you're not doing it for the show? The host isn't doing it. So sometimes you may not even know that this is something that you can be valued for, or that there's a return on the investment for. So, again, it's an outside perspective looking in to help.
Just somebody detailing everything that what you're doing and kind of putting it on like a platter and just saying, here's a package for you, that here's how you can come at this. I know from my years in radio, usually you signed like a 1 to 2 year deal for contracts. And when it was time for contract negotiation, I was like, oh my God, I don't know what to ask. Do I ask for $10,000 raise, or do I ask for like 2? Do I discuss bonuses? There was a lot. But one thing so I even personally, after almost 15 years in the business, we keep joking and saying it's longer, like almost 90 years in the business. I was still confused going in on like how to negotiate. And I always kind of felt like, did I kind of gyp myself? I mean, you never really know if you were taken care of. I do know for a fact that when I started in the radio business, CHARESE had my back, and you are just one of the biggest advocates for women in radio. And just to even just to have a meeting with you, I was like, oh my God, it's CHARESE. Like, it was scary because you were just woman on top. And it's like, to get there and to have that seat and just to own it, and people knew you and respected you, it was just like an absolute gift to be able to work with you and to learn from you. And, you believed in me and gave me a shot. And I just will forever be grateful to you for that. And I felt respected and heard too,
Oh,
and that's so important.
I got to work with your protege and he's awesome. So, and he is definitely a big advocate for women in radio too, I would say, if you look at the way he hires.
J Love, shout out to J Love. Oh my gosh, one of the best. So,
well, Erin listens. So hi, Erin.
Erin is J Love's babe, and she's the woman behind the curtain.
She's a boss ass bitch too. Yeah,
she is. Okay, so back up just a moment. So you started on air, right?
I did, yeah.
I'm curious if did you have a radio name, or did you go as CHARESE?
Okay, my name is CHARESE Frugge. That's my real name. Who would make that up, first of all? It's, a Cajun name. I'm from Southwest Louisiana. My parents named me CHARESE Frugge. Thank you, I think. So I worked a lot in the South and Southwest, Louisiana and Texas, and it was perfect for those areas because it was a common name there. When I moved to Vegas, the first day on the air, I had never heard the sweepers. You know how they do MJ, 2P to 7 on, X175, whatever.
Yeah.
First sweeper that I heard was CHARESE Frugge, Mix 94.1. Nope, it's not a stripper name.
I love it. In Vegas, they're like, oh,
and I was like, oh, my God, this name is perfect for this town.
Like putting the sauce on it. Charisse is here. So from on air, then how did you transition into being the boss?
I really started out heavily on air in Morning Drive, and I thought, oh my God, I want to be a morning show star. And I had some really great coaches, and I was a big fan of Kid Craddock, and he was
yeah, R.I.P.
Yes,
Kid Craddock's so great.
Yeah, and he was a big fan of mine and very helpful to me in my morning show career. And then I kind of got screwed over in New Orleans when my grandmother passed away. I left and was replaced by a 2-male show. And that's when I started to realize how challenging, it was going to be for me. So I started doing middays and then ended up moving to Las Vegas as middays and music director. And the more I was on the air and the more I dealt with record labels and programming and scheduling music, the more I started to feel like I really want to be a part of the creative process.
Yeah.
You have more control than a talent. Yeah, I hear that.
Exactly. And I didn't have to have a partner, and I didn't have to be a giggle box or whatever. I could be tough and opinionated because I had a decent program director and I had record labels who respected me. It started to feel like I wanted to be behind the scenes, and I'd rather be in management and the creative process that way than on the front lines and on the air. So I was given the program director position a couple of years after I moved to Las Vegas at Mix 94.1. And at that point, I ended up getting off the air because I was, how short-staffed we always are. I was doing a lot of things. And then I was taking on more responsibility for the company. The station was winning. So Mix sort of started to be an example for other hot AC stations within the CBS company. So I started helping with those kinds of things. And before you knew it, my program director career just blew up.
Can we just tell everybody, Mix is probably one of the number one radio stations in Las Vegas for a decade at least, forever.
For almost 20 years. Yeah, it flipped originally in 1996 and I got there closer to the millennium. And Mix has traditionally been one of the top performing hot AC stations in the country, that long.
We told you we have a boss here for you guys. Oh my God. So we want to get into some fun sex, dating, relationship stuff. But before we do that, some boss babe tip. For somebody that's getting hired, being you've hired and done interviews, what are a couple of things you look for in hiring your on-air staff? Something that they could relate to.
I look for energetic personalities and people who are self-starters and proactive and who are passionate and have good communication skills. Sometimes you'll sit across from someone and interview with them and you never get looked at in the eye. And someone who's genuine. A couple of my best hires, the decision-making process have been when I went to lunch and we had a couple of glasses of wine or a Bloody Mary or two. I won't mention names.
Yeah.
But I really want that person to be able to relax and be okay in normal circumstances and to be able to communicate and not be afraid of me, but at the same time respect me and be a team player. You've definitely got to, and I learned that early on, you've got to get along with everybody and you've got to ignore the pettiness. And, sometimes you can be best friends with your staff. Other times, keep your head down and just do your job and be like, yep, all good. Somebody's being petty or silly or whatever. It's just got to be a really strong personality that's energetic and really gets it and is really passionate about it.
I've always compared going on interviews to dating. I really think it is. Or 2 weeks ago, I guess, when this dropped, I announced I'd lost my job. Guess what, Keepers? Got a new job already.
Yep, already got a new job.
I was on unemployment for 2 whole days.
And a fat raise.
And I got a fat raise, yeah.
She might be buying a house next door.
Well, but it was probably one of the best interviews I've ever been on. It's funny because you mentioned like going to the bar and stuff because we met at a bar and I was like, interesting, I've never had an interview at a bar. And he was having a few beers and he was like, I want to get to know you, have a cocktail. So I ordered a gin and tonic and it was a 2-hour interview and we had to get to know each other on a very specific level.
And listen, if you're not a drinker or whatever, that's not a problem. Coffee works just as well. I get, super high on coffee.
Yeah.
And I'll babble on forever, like the same way, you don't have to drink but if you're in a situation where you meet at the bar or whatever and they say, I prefer not to drink, but don't hold back and don't let that throw you off. from being who you really are. Don't let it bother you. You know what I mean? And again, I'm not saying go out and get drunk. You know?
Yeah, right. All of a sudden they've ordered like 4 shots. You're like, all right, interview's done. Oh, God.
But, you know, just be yourself and just be able to convey the fact that you can operate under normal circumstances and still be yourself, still open up.
So for contract negotiating and when it's time to ask for a raise, like, what are some things to consider before accepting an offer, or how do you ask for a raise? Like
in any job.
A lot of people don't have the luxury of having someone represent themselves. It's absolutely something that you have to be able to consider what you do. And this goes back to putting together your little business plan. And at the end of the day, the main title of that business plan is CHARESE Fruge's ROI. Here's what I'm doing and here's what it's worth to you. These are all the things that I do that are extra, that contribute to the success of the radio station or the restaurant or the television station or the podcast or whatever. And you put together that little business plan, and don't put together a monetary value because that can differ from market to market. Just put together this responsibility. Social media content and management for the morning show is what I handle. And I'm the only person in charge of that. So here's what that's equal to: digital opportunities, exposure, reach, communication and engagement with our audience, et cetera, et cetera. Top of the headline should read, this is my ROI. And these are the things that I do and I provide. And maybe I'm a little bit new at this, but that's not necessarily something that makes me underqualified for a raise. It moves me into that demographic that provides something that the other demographic on the station can't necessarily provide because they're not experienced enough about it. They don't know enough about it. They don't engage enough. And so it's something that this person can't provide and I can.
Yeah.
And then, does that make sense?
Yes. So breaking down little subcategories of what all your duties are and what they're worth. And
basically millennials, she's saying if you're on a morning show with old radio and you're running all the social media, look into that. But that's true. Like old radio versus new radio is so different because old radio is like, I don't care about other than the fabulous Mercedes who is old radio and new radio together at once. But like old radio specifically, you know what I'm talking about, is like, I don't care about TikTok. I don't care about Instagram. I don't care about Facebook. I don't want to do these blogs. I just want to talk.
Yeah.
And then like the millennials are like, I'll do all of it. And then it's like, okay, well, you also need to get paid for doing that too.
Right. And also I'll voice track middays and you know, oh my God, it's gotta stop. Right.
So what is, if you could throw out a number, like say somebody's working at a company, any company, when is that first initial time to say, no, it's time to ask for a raise?
It's not 6 months. That's a little bit too soon because you know how long it takes to prove ratings and reach in radio. It takes a minute to show that. And it's easier to get a raise if you can show that you're the reason that the ratings bumped or the reach grew larger.
Yeah.
I would say evaluate a year into the job. If there's significant progress, go for it. A year and a half, go for it again. 2 years later, nothing happens, time to move on. You know what I mean? And don't quit your job or whatever. And again, this is why I feel like it's important to have someone represent you.
Yes.
Take emotion out of negotiation. Have someone do the talking for you so that they can help you determine whether it's time to move on or not. Keep your job, keep your head down, do good work, be positive, and start looking if necessary.
Yeah.
But don't start looking without trying to make it work within the situation that you're currently in.
I think a lot of people don't even know like what are resources where they can find a consultant like you. So I am so glad you're here to share that. And we're going to share everything, all your socials. It's mcmediaonline.com. And we're going to share everything at the end of the show too. But it's time to talk about some sex, dating, relationship stuff. Take a big swig of that drink. Cheers. So the first thing we want to do is getting into some deal breakers. Now, are you comfortable sharing your relationship status?
I am single and was trying to date a little bit before COVID, but now I'm just sort of locked down at home, you know. With the exception of my pool, I live in a complex and I have this like, resort style pool. And there are a lot of good looking young millennials. And I sort of feel like a little cougar, but there's some good looking boys out there.
Okay.
But, you know.
Okay. That reminds me. Okay. When I first first got hired on the radio station, I have to say quick, I rolled in for the rock station. I think I was 30 at the time, and Charisse and I were chatting, and she says, okay, so our male demographic is 28 to 35, so I need somebody that's going to work with that demographic, you know, and I said, well, that's my demographic too. And we both started, and she looked me right in the eye, and she's like, me too. Gave me a wink. I was like, yes!
So I'm dealing with two cougars tonight.
Yes,
all right?
ma'am.
I date men that are older.
Boring.
I'm a sugar baby at heart.
That makes a little bit of sense because I'm not going to lie to you. I think, and maybe this is the West Coast, but I think younger guys are into older women here.
Yeah.
I've noticed that because
Yeah.
I'll be like, this guy's into me. What? You know, probably because of my age and my no bullshit attitude and, you know,
that confidence.
I guess.
I don't know. I can't date guys my age because of my no bullshit attitude. They're like, oh,
Right.
well.
Yeah, because they're, you know, well, guys your age are probably 5-10 years younger than they really are mentally. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
That's why I date older men.
Exactly. Oh, yeah.
They say that like the male matures at 43. So I'm like, that's 10 years older than me. I can work with this.
Oh, man.
Love it.
Grow up, boys.
I
All
know.
right.
Men do better.
Okay, so we've got some deal breakers for you, all right? Kick it off for us.
All right. Oh, you're on a first date actually, and they keep mentioning their ex. Deal breaker or continue seeing?
Probably a deal breaker because if you can't get over the ex, then you don't have a future. You know what I mean?
You're not
true.
ready right now. Misspell stuff in text.
Sadly, no, because I do it all the time.
Okay, good. Me too. I'm the worst. She wants to make me a shirt that says I ain't got time to spell. I'm like, oh, they'll figure it out.
But you know what? I gotta
I
say,
have a friend from New Orleans who does the dictation.
talk to text.
Yes, she does the dictation. And first of all, they already have an accent in New Orleans. So these phones cannot understand her. And I'm like, what the hell is she saying?
When I use talk to text, that's what happens to me. And then so I'm like, and then I get frustrated because I have to go through and fix everything. And I'm like, never mind, I should have just texted it out to begin with.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so you're on a first date and they don't tip well. Deal breaker or no?
Deal breaker. Yeah.
Me too.
Gross.
Too many friends in the service industry, and those guys work hard.
Yeah.
They
work
do.
hard.
It's embarrassing. You're like, really?
I
$5? It was an $80 meal.
So I was at lunch with my former boss who, the man who let me go when I was unemployed for 2 days. And he saw I tipped $6 on a $15 meal. And he was like, wow, you tip really well. And I said, you know, I was an esthetician, so I like to bring good luck, tip money to myself. I said, I feel like if you tip good, you're bringing good money karma back to yourself.
Agreed,
And he was like, I didn't tip that. And I was like, well,
You're a cheap ass then.
Yeah, exactly. We don't like him anymore.
no.
He's out. Okay. Super flirty with like the bartender, the wait staff while you guys are on a date.
Like how flirty though? Like if it's just flirty, that's cool. If you're obnoxious flirty, like I used to date this guy who would like show up to the bar and take another girl's drink, like he was just going to taste it and then just down it. You know what I mean? And you're like, I'm sorry. There's that, and then there's the overly touchy-feely flirty. So if you're just kind of a flirty, and you're nice and you're fun and you light up a room, kind of a thing, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because I love those kinds of personalities.
Yeah.
But anything crossing the line, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah, I feel like I've dated guys that have done that move. It's just like, oh, they just start too much like grabby to some rando
Right.
sit next to him. You're like, bitch, you're on a date with me. Don't take her a drink. Now you got to buy her a drink. Now you're like, I'm out of here. Oh,
Either that or you have to make up for what he did to her and you're like, I'm so sorry he acted that way.
I know. You're like, oh, and then you like make friends with her. You're like, let's get out of here. Let's go to the beauty.
Isn't that what happens typically? Like, I'm so sorry he groped you. Let's go talk about him. You
Yeah,
know?
gross.
With all the scum that I have dated, I can honestly say I have never had that situation, knock on wood.
That, you just know. I just remember that uncomfortable feeling like being out with somebody and they're just like
Right.
way
Right.
too
And that's
interested in
like,
somebody else. You're just like, fucking out of here. Shit. Fucking guy. Ugh. Okay.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
why you always take them to PTs where the bartender, the PTs that you know the bartender isn't cute. It's like a dude or something.
Yeah.
Hey!
Take to your favorite dude bartender. Be like, this is the
Right?
spot we're gonna go. A good idea. Good hot tip for Bree right there. Okay, this is the next one.
Okay. What if they say right away, you guys are going to go Dutch on your date since you're just getting to know
Yeah.
each other?
Don't say it. I'll probably offer just because I'm a
Yes.
good person.
Yep.
But don't be all up like, nope.
Yeah, that's like, you don't get to put me in my place like that just yet.
I'm still a Southern girl, and I want to be treated. I want the door opened, and I want to be treated nicely, and I would like to be taken out to dinner. Doesn't mean I won't offer at the time the bill comes, but don't be a dick.
Exactly.
I feel like you are that girl that's going to be like, try to offer just to, put it out there. Listen, guys, whatever we offer, you better pay. Okay. Because that's a good girl.
Exactly. And the reason that we offer is so that we don't feel guilty or whatever. And that's the reason we offer. But we 1000% never expect you to say, okay, sure. Never expect that.
Because when you let us pay, that's one notch off your belt. Okay.
Exactly.
That's one step back we're taking.
However,
almost worse than saying we're going Dutch up front.
However,
exactly.
I will say that like when I'm in a relationship, and if it was like if he's been paying a lot, and then I was finally like one night I was like, you know what, let's go out. I like to like every now and then I feel like
100%
feels good.
I'm happy to contribute to the relationship.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good quality in a woman, to like be on the first date and just kind of like maybe offer up, or maybe pretend she's gonna want to pay a little bit, rather than the girl that just sits there with her arms folded like, you're gonna pay. Like, I don't think anybody at this table right now is that girl.
No, you'll see me fisting my purse and being like, oh, are you sure? Okay.
And but it's really slow. Like, where's my purse?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah, you get it out.
Waiting for him to be like, oh, no, don't worry about it. I got it.
And if you're real slick, you just slide that credit card out and give him the wink. He's like, oh, and then you'll never pay ever again. Ever.
All right. Let's do some this or that. Older or younger?
Right now, younger.
In the bedroom, do you like a man to be more dominant or submissive?
Dominant. Not over dominant, but
No. This is a true thing of women who are very dominant, loud, big personalities.
Right. I was about to say that. Yeah.
Yep. In the bedroom, we're the complete opposite, because I'm the same way. When I'm in a room, I steal the room. When I'm in the bedroom, somebody needs to take care of me.
I feel like, but tread lightly, gentlemen, because sometimes we're like, don't be too bossy though, because then I'll flip the script. Tread lightly with a strong woman, okay? Because that's a fine line for them to walk, right?
First date, coffee or cocktails?
Cocktails, sorry. I mean, I love coffee, but come on.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. He cooks for you or you cook for him?
I love to cook.
Really?
I do. I love to cook.
She's a Southern woman.
Listen, I wouldn't be mad if a man cooked for me, and I would think it's really sweet. But like, if I had a live-in love, I would be the one to cook every day, pretty much, because I love to cook.
So if you had a guy you've been dating and you wanted to like really put the cooking moves on him, what would you throw down?
This is gonna sound a little strange, but I'm famous for it, and every man I've ever met loves a good old Cajun gumbo.
Oh, yeah.
It's not exactly romantic, but they're like, holy shit, you can make a gumbo? And I'm like, bitch, I'm the best. Like, and I will have stuff shipped in from Louisiana. I'll have the sausage shipped in, and the tasso shipped in, everything I need to make a good Cajun voodoo gumbo. And every man I know, and all my male friends are like, when are you going to make a gumbo?
Okay, as your female friend who loves New Orleans with a passion, when are you going to make it?
She tried to move away from me to New Orleans. So I was like, or not.
I did. I got a phone call from the affiliate out in New Orleans for a position. And
do I know that?
Intercom.
Oh my God, I know all of them.
It was for a sales assistant position, and just at the time, it was right at the beginning of the pandemic, and it just didn't make sense to pack up my entire life and move.
Right.
But
listen, New Orleans and Vegas are extremely opposite and yet very similar. It's weird, but
New Orleans is like, I'm actually really sad. I like to go there at least once a year. Didn't get to go this year, obviously. But New Orleans is like the only other city I've ever visited around the entire world that felt like home to me, because Vegas is my home, but New Orleans feels like home.
Every year, J-Love, that you mentioned earlier, and Aaron, we do our Vegas family vacation. We go home to New Orleans, my home, the week before Christmas. We always do it. We're also bummed that we can't go this year, so So I'm going to make beignets from like Cafe du Monde, gumbo, and we're going to just do everything we can. And then we're going to get on a Zoom with all of our friends from New Orleans, basically from the Intercom cluster there. So.
Yeah. And just so you know, J Love is the man we're talking about, and he is the one that is programming Mix 94.1, one of the biggest radio stations in Las Vegas. So, and I work there. That's where Charisse hired me first, and then I hopped on over to the rock station. So it all full circle.
Perfect for, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I love it.
Instead of this or that or like rapid fire, you could elaborate a little bit on these.
All right, it's time for the monthly Keeping It Casual swag giveaway.
The last Wednesday of every month.
We appreciate you so much for going out of your way to enter by doing those rating and reviews on Apple Podcasts. So we love to give back with our monthly super sexy giveaways.
And thank you to our sponsors at Like a Kitten, because they are hooking you up with the long winter's nap box.
Lucky. And you know what? It has that bath bomb in the middle. It like melts away and there's a vibrator inside. That was the best bath of like all time.
Yes. So not only do you get super soft skin, you get a super vibrating vibrator. Does that make sense? Yes. If you don't understand, and if you want to see more of what is in that box, go to our Instagram and check out our most extra unboxing videos.
Let's check the reviews. Who's this month's winner?
Is Shelly. There's a lot of L's going on there. 5 stars.
Okay.
5 stars, like hanging with my girls. I've been a loyal listener since day one, and they've only got better. It's literally like spending time with my girlfriends. MJ is totally relatable to my current sitch, and Bree is living my life circa 15 years ago. These girls are smart, funny, and beyond entertaining. Totes recommend. Well, thank you, Shelly. Please send us your address to feedback@keepingitcasualpodcast.com. Back to the show. So can you recount an awkward first date?
How about an awkward never first date?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I did do the dating app thing one time.
Which one?
In San Diego. I think it was Match.com.
Okay.
And this guy started reaching out to me and talking to me, and we were going back and forth, texting, emailing over and over. And I kept waiting for him to actually say, okay, do you want to meet for coffee or whatever? It didn't really happen, but he kept saying, so are you going to go to like the LSU alumni San Diego crawfish boil? And I'd be like, oh my God, every year I go, blah, 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 blah. So I would go there expecting that maybe he'll find me and say hello or something, and nothing, crickets, right? So, and I'm trying to figure out what this means, but it was really creepy. After the crawfish boil, he'd be like, did you have a good time? I saw you. Like, did you enjoy the music? I'm like, you saw me, but you didn't say hi? Like, I don't understand. That kind of thing happened at least 3 times. And after a while, I was like, okay, is this guy stalking me? Or what's going on? It was the weirdest, most awkward thing ever. I guess, you know, but why like, ask me if I'm going to ghost somewhere and then not say hello to me, but keep asking me?
Because he was using somebody else's pictures.
He just wanted somebody to talk to. We've had a couple of catfish episodes, and these have been like our crazy juicy ones. You wouldn't believe, like, people will just, they want somebody to talk to you or someone there to talk to, and then get excited they're going to see you, and then all of a sudden you're like, where the fuck is this guy again? Like, what's going on?
Catfishing?
Like, say hello or tell me to fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, he wanted your attention. He loved chatting with you. Please, this is podcasting, baby. Let it fly.
Yeah. Say all the fuck you want.
Remember when we first started, it was still very like hard for me to actually drop an F-bomb or do anything like that.
Yeah. And for me, it's like if I ever had to transition on air again, I'm like, oh no. Oh no.
You know what, I found that because I was doing some work for Mix before the pandemic hit on air, you know, for kicks and giggles, because I love being on air.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh my God, with my potty mouth, I'm never going to make it. But as it turns out, it's a habit you never lose.
The on air?
And
oh, yeah.
So I did really well. I don't know about a morning show where you can kind of just express.
Yeah.
I may have a little bit of difficulty with that, but like normal conversations and podcasts, I'm like F-bomb, F-bomb.
Yeah.
Bring it. It's totally welcome because, you know, we need to express our relationship. So,
all right.
Okay. What is some of the worst relationship advice you've ever received?
He loves you. He's not cheating on you. I think you should give him another chance.
Oh, God.
I feel like as girlfriends, we want to be like, no, he's not cheating on you, because we don't want to like come in hot and be like, fuck that guy. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I'm typically the one that if I know he's cheating, I'm like, fuck that guy.
Well, yeah, if you
exactly.
know, but if you're only hearing, like, if I'm coming to you and I'm like, I don't know, like, I feel like he's cheating on me, and you've like seen us together, and you're like, oh, maybe he's not. He like, I can see he loves you when I'm hanging out with the two of you. You
Hold
know?
on. What did I say when we first thought that somebody was cheating on you and you had an ex coming in town for the weekend? I said, go hook up with your ex.
Oh yeah, she did.
I have 3 older brothers. Two of them are, look, you're both, that's so funny.
It's like, no, like all the hot older friends to like hang out with. I'm like,
oh, now I get it. I have 3 older brothers, and 2 of them are married to their high school sweethearts. But I still know how men or boys act. You know,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? My oldest brother did a lot of dating. He was a bit of a player, but he never tried to hide that. But I know how boys are, and so if my gut tells me he's cheating, I'm usually right on, spot on.
Yeah.
Not to mention the fact that this is a psychological thing and something I've had discussions with my therapist over on and on again. If you know that kind of stuff and you experience it a lot or you see it a lot, then you tend to go for men who act exactly the same way, sadly. And I've had a couple of really long-term boyfriends cheat on me, and that sucks. It's not fun, you know?
Same girl. Same. But you know what's crazy is it's not something I've seen with the men in my life. It's just something that I think I'm just too trusting of a human being, and I let the leash a little too long. I'm like, I trust you until I don't.
So I think that's a traditional or a typical female thing. You know, we are much more trusting than men are, because believe me, even the guy that cheats on you all the time is like, why are you talking to him? Why are you at the bar hanging out with him? Like, he passed by, you know, and he just said hello. Like, what am I going to do? Ignore him?
So on that note, what's the pettiest thing you've ever done in a breakup?
Oh, God, there's so many.
Yes.
wait, let me tell you one stupid thing I did really quick. I had just did a haul of sweatshirts and sweatpants, just some cozy, cool loungy gear for this guy I dated, and it was all at my house. So I cut the crotch out and the armpits out of the sleeves.
Oh my God.
And he wore them.
He said years later, we ended up chatting about it. He said, I thought my brother was wearing my sweatpants. He was like, man, you busted a hole in my pants. He goes, I sewed it back. I said, but what about the armpits of the shirts? Like, what did you even think about? And, yeah.
In high school, I had a long-term boyfriend, and then college, I had the same long-term boyfriend. And I thought, oh my God, I was so in love. Oh my God. So when college boyfriend broke up with me one night, I did the typical drive in front of their house just to see who's there, kind of a kind of thing. Like, and I did. Okay, this is a high school move. I did this in college.
It's still a college move.
I ended up driving by his house and pulling into his parking lot and wanting him to come down and talk to me after we broke up, and he wouldn't. And so I cried loud enough that his mom came out and said, I'm sorry. He's very upset. He doesn't want to speak to you. You're waking up the neighbors and you need to go home.
Yes.
I can't believe I even remembered that. That's so long ago.
That's amazing.
We're just like,
Or not.
and we're still here. She lived to tell the tale.
You know what?
Became a badass boss bitch. Some things we think we'll never recover from, you know? Can you imagine?
Oh, God. You know what? I just look back at all my exes and I'm like, how did I think that you were like the biggest heartbreak of my life? And it's like, you had a fucking bed that came out of the wall.
Oh, God.
Okay, FYI, this guy had a waterbed. Come on.
Those are awful.
The moves.
awful. Actually, come to think of it, the boyfriend before that had a waterbed too. Like, there lies the problem.
It was the 90s. It was like the 90s, so the waterbeds were like totally hot then too.
Yeah, and I guess Murphy beds are when you want to relive your 90s sitcom dreams.
God.
Like, I don't know.
That's when you're a turd and can't get your shit together.
I know.
We're making fun of her ex right now.
Yes, we are.
Okay. All right. A guy, you show back at his place. He puts on a sexy time playlist. Like he has one curated. Do you appreciate it? Or are you like, this is kind of weird?
I 1000% love it. And
Yes.
my high school sweetheart made one, and it was all about Air Supply.
Oh, God. I'm so lost without you.
It was full on Air Supply, and that was our sexy time.
Air Supply.
It was a cassette, by the way. It was a cassette tape, yeah.
Yes.
And it was all
So
about Air
good.
Supply and a couple of other, Spandau Ballet and that kind of stuff.
So it was a
Fantastic.
mixtape.
But I'm dating myself right now,
No,
All
you're
right.
not. I
It's
feel like
perfect.
sexy time playlists can have something from any decade. However, as a programmer, would you judge somebody's sexy time playlist like, ooh, wouldn't have done that transition?
That wasn't a hit. That's unfamiliar. What is this shit?
This is not. You can't go from that. That's a bad transition. You
Do
can't go from
know
a
the
power.
story behind that? Like, no.
Yeah. You can't go from a power to a gold. You can't.
That's the thing is like,
You just hit me with a new song and then an 80s song. That don't work like that. You got to ease me back into that.
Right?
you know what's funny is like I do not let a dude put on a sexy time playlist because every time I've been very disappointed coming from a radio background. I'm like,
Right.
why would you do like even if it's not a sexy time playlist, but even if I'm just like put some music on and it's like just like a rock playlist, I'm like that transition was terrible. Why would you do that? Okay, so I'm sure you've given really good gifts to exes. The best present you've ever gave to an ex, did you secretly want it back? Because I have. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
and I openly wanted it back.
I used to be a big watch collector, so anytime I'd give like a boyfriend a watch, I'd be like,
That's what she gave.
My ex was super into watches, and I found the coolest watch. It's a wooden watch, and it was made from a whiskey barrel.
oh, that's cool. I'd want that back too.
I didn't get it back, but I openly wanted it back. I was like, you better give me that shit back.
Oh, God.
That's a sensitive subject right there, because it's like they're not cheap.
And like I said, I used to collect before the iWatch.
Mhm.
I collected watches. I always gave them a damn watch, and I always wanted it back.
Because you can still wear it too. I
Word
think.
to the word to the wise. If you're just dating somebody, don't buy them a watch. If
No,
you're married to them
exactly.
for like 10 years and you know it's steady, then you can get the watch.
Get them a watch that you could wear too. Now we're going to transition into sexy getting to know yous, okay?
Okay.
So what is your favorite way to be seduced? The way he just draws you in with the evening. Maybe a lot of Air Supply.
It definitely worked. I'm not gonna lie.
He puts that on, you're like, what?
So are we calling this episode All Out of Love?
All out of love. So we have a song title. We're not there yet. Let's what?
I love it.
Oh, that's good.
The best stories or fantasies or whatever, for some reason, they're always in New Orleans. In some form of like an antebellum home where he makes dinner, puts the music on, lights the candles. Ironically, there's a hot tub upstairs,
Yeah.
inside the big master bathroom, that kind of a thing. It really all comes down to me being like a Southern woman, which means that I'm definitely aggressive and a go-getter, but I also appreciate Southern charm so much. I love a good Southern charmer. And you don't have to be Southern if you're charming, but for the most part, I just love Southern charm,
She wants to be wooed. She wants the dinner. She wants the hot tub. I like that.
At the end of the day, you want to be treated like a lady, and I understand that
Exactly.
too, because I'm the same way. I want my door open for me, my car door and my, and doors held for me. I want that too.
She wants you to sleep on the other side of the bed that's farthest from the door because somebody comes in to murder.
Oh, no. These are things that my dad told me. He was like, the guy has to walk on the sidewalk closest to the street, and if you're sleeping in the same bed, they have to be closest to the door.
Yep.
See, she knows exactly what I'm talking about.
Yes. He's your protector, even though most of the time I end up being the protector.
Yes,
I just
same.
want to feel like he's the
Yeah.
protector.
It's like,
still
step
wanna-
aside, babe. I got this. Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, I probably can kick somebody's ass
Same.
more than anybody I've ever dated, but it's still nice to feel like a lady.
Feel that way.
Yes. So, in a spontaneous hookup, do you prefer they stay and cuddle, or are you like, can you just leave?
I typically will not come to my house or my place because to me that's just a little bit much. So I'm really not a one night stand person, but there is one time that I did it. It was for my best friend's wedding in San Diego.
Good old wedding.
And this random guy, they were on this cross country bike ride, like riding bike, like regular bike, like not a motorbike, bike ride. And they stopped and stayed at the same hotel room. And again, I am not a one night stand girl, but it was my best friend's wedding and all my friends were like, he's cute, he's into blah, 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 blah. So I went to his room and, after, one thing led to another. And then I was like, yeah, I gotta go because my best friend's parents, who are really Catholic, are staying in the room next door.
Oh no!
And it was a true story. Not gonna lie, there are so many things about that story that would require lots of drinks to have discussion about. However, I think a one night stand and someone I don't know, I'm not comfortable with cuddles. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
I love you and I know you, great. If you leave, I'll kill you. Yeah. If I don't know you and I don't love you, then you can go or I'll go.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yeah.
Tip the hat. All right, nice.
Bouncing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you. Duly appreciated.
Yes.
Gotta go.
That was fun. Okay. Is there ever a reason to fake an orgasm?
No.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not at all. No, I'm just like, yes, I'm cheering her on. Yes. I
At this
agree.
point, listen, when I was younger, so many reasons, especially when you date an older man. But at this point in my life and probably yours and this day and age, if it's not going to happen, then you break out the toys and you say, make it happen.
Yeah, make it happen.
Exactly. Like help a sister out somehow.
That's hilarious because that is the one time I did. There was somebody that was just down there doing things and I found myself like kind of looking left and right. Yeah. like no eye contact. I was like, are you paying attention to what's happening? And that's when I was like, use this.
Let me help a brother out.
You know what he did? He said no because he kind of shooed it away. So I faked one.
Oh, well.
At that point you have to because you're either in pain or like exhausted or so freaking bored that you're like, this shit has to end.
I was bored. I've never been bored. Yeah, that was a
boring sex is awful. Ugh.
Or like worst/best case scenario, I got this, honey, and then you take care of it.
Yeah, exactly. Just watch me handle business. I think that's a problem. Like they're down there so long and they don't give you eye contact. Guys, a little eye contact is cool.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to look at it and just make sure we're on the same page. I was watching TV.
Oh my god.
Okay. All right.
So, if you could go back in time and lose your virginity to any rock star, who would it be?
Oh, I can't say that because I'm really good friends with him.
Okay. Good
just
to
tell
know.
us what song he sings. Nope, just kidding.
Let me just get rid of the first person that pops into my mind and think about that again. Lenny Kravitz is hot.
Ooh, good one.
choice.
Man.
Lenny Kravitz is hot. I'm trying to think. And also, again, dating myself, John Bon Jovi.
Oh.
Ooh.
Okay.
No, you said Bon Jovi
Living
for
on a
something.
Prayer? That was a long time ago.
That was Jamie Ross's
He was
episode.
so hot back then, though. John Bon Jovi was so hot back then. I mean, even with the big hair.
That was a fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah,
that
it
we did.
was.
Who can we throw in her fuck, marry, kill? John Bon Jovi, Lenny Kravitz.
Nikki Sixx. I love Nikki Sixx. I don't know.
I would kill Nikki Sixx. I would fuck Lenny Kravitz, and I would marry John Bon Jovi.
There we go.
There you go. I feel like John Bon Jovi just feels like he's the more like he's gonna hang out at home with you.
Consistent. Like Lenny Kravitz is great. And I'm not saying he has an ego, but he is so boisterous and his style and everything. And it's just like, it's almost too much.
Yeah.
Whereas John Bon Jovi feels like a good Jersey, consistent.
Yeah.
Been married to his wife for 100,000 years. He's staying with the same woman forever, right?
Yeah.
He loves her. And he does good things for the community. And
he'd watch Netflix. I feel like Lenny'd be like in his room room all the time. We're like, Lenny, are you gonna watch the movie? Like,
No,
like, no.
Lenny Kravitz, I saw him once.
Just rolled in.
And it was at the Pearl at the Palms. I saw him back in like 2007, 2008, and he was like having a mental breakdown on stage as this was happening. Were you at that show?
Probably. I'll tell you some background on Lenny. He doesn't like to fly. They are meticulous about production, everything. When he did a show for us in San Diego while I was still working for CBS in San Diego and Vegas at the House of Blues. San Diego's House of Blues is much smaller than Las Vegas, right?
Yeah, it is, yeah.
He had enough production and equipment, and it was mandatory for a stadium concert. And as brilliant as he is, and as amazing and sexy and enamorous as he is, that concert was so fucking loud.
Oh my God.
It's so intimate, but they insisted on an enormous amount of production, which again, I commend them for being perfectionist and meticulous and what have you, but wow, was that concert loud.
The fireworks are not good inside. This is
right, exactly.
too much.
When I saw him, he was just like, he had done a few songs and he was like, he just went around and decided to play every instrument on stage in this long instrumental. And I remember I was drinking and I was like, Lenny, this is not what I want from you, homie.
like, no. Charisse, this has been a super blast. We have one more rapid fire for you.
Okay.
And then we're going to share all the socials and everywhere you can find MC Media online. Get your 2021 on point, guys, because Charisse is here for you. Being that you've met almost every celebrity in the world, musicians, artists, we have a name drop rapid fire. So,
who is the coolest celebrity you've ever met?
Rob Thomas. I don't smoke weed, but he likes to smoke weed.
okay.
And honestly, it's because it's legal in Nevada.
Yeah.
I just don't know how, but like hanging out with this guy, he is so friendly, approachable, and doesn't really know how freaking talented he is, and he's really cool to hang out with.
Just
He's a
really
good dude.
humble and cool.
Yeah.
So Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20, if anybody doesn't know.
Yeah, I have to say, one of the coolest moments I've ever had working in radio, you were there last year, actually, when this happened. Rob Thomas was headlining a concert that Mix 94.1 sponsored.
Okay.
Carlos Santana walked out on stage.
Oh.
And they did Black Magic Woman, they did Voodoo Child, and then they did Smooth together. And I was just like, I was drinking all day. I was in the VIP area. My feet were in the pool. And I was just like, oh my gosh. Those are the type of moments in radio that things you'll never get again.
Exactly.
Most disappointing celebrity you've ever met?
Madonna.
Oh.
Not so friendly.
I could see that, honestly.
Yeah.
What's his name from the Counting Crows?
Oh, Adam
Durst.
Levine. Not Adam Durst. Yes.
Something
shit.
like that.
What?
Yeah. White boy dreads. What's your name?
The guy from the Counting Crows. And I saw him and I was very cute and I was 20 something and it was at a casino. And I just walked over to him. I think he had a concert the next night or something. I was like, oh my God, hi. I can't wait to see you tomorrow night. And he just like gave me the hand, like, don't even talk to me right now, and fucking walked away.
Ew.
It is Adam Duritz, and he has a reputation of being a dick.
What a butthole.
From the very beginning. We actually did book them for one of our shows here in Vegas.
Yeah.
And, it was tough. It was a tough gig. It was a tough gig. And he has a reputation for being a jerk. So.
Oh, I was like, I'm a hot 20-something babe, and you just totally like shooed me away. I was like, ugh.
Right.
I have to say, my worst was Josh Todd from Buck Cherry.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never had a bad experience with Buck Cherry.
He was not clean at the time that I met him.
That explains a lot. I mean, honestly, like
it does.
over the years, we see that. You know what I mean?
He was not clean. So I was doing a meet and greet, and I was with the radio station. I was with one of the other radio stations I've worked for. I was just there to, make sure that everybody did what they needed to do and then leave, as a street teamer does. And he came up to me and he was like, hey, are you here with the drugs? And I was like, whoa.
Oh, I've been there. Woo! Yeah. No.
Had my badge and I was like, nah, here for you.
No, don't. And by the way, the show that you're doing is from my station, so I would prefer it if you weren't like out of your mind. When you,
no.
And
then he was like, oh, well, can you get me a few girls then? And I was like, no. No.
Wow.
No, I cannot.
Your personal concierge, like,
Have you ever embarrassed yourself in front of a celebrity?
so many times. I was really young and I was working in Baton Rouge, and my favorite band was a band from New Orleans called Better Than Ezra. And I was working in radio, and I was getting to meet them at a concert for the first time. And it was so cool because LSU, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Louisiana, blah, blah, blah. And I might have been barely 21, 22. I was so enamored by the lead singer, and I just couldn't wait to meet him. I finally get to go backstage, and I finally get to meet him, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm such a big fan. And it's one of the times where you have built this person up so much in your mind, and you love them so much. And I just was diarrhea of the mouth. And he was a little bit like, fuck off. Devastated. And I was like, oh my God, I just made a complete moron of myself. I'm so embarrassed, and I hate him, but you can't hate your favorite band forever.
Yeah.
Or the lead singer, who's tall and handsome with big blue eyes.
Yeah.
So I just was so embarrassed, and just one of those experiences where I was like, I have just embarrassed myself so much. And I thought I'd never get over it, but as it turns out, we're pretty good friends now.
I was gonna say,
I
because
love that.
Mix has booked them many times.
Right. Yes. No, they were the house band for a while.
Them and Daughtry, man.
She's like, oh, what's up? Hey, what's up? Oh, yeah, I don't have time to talk right now. See you later. Yeah, it just became that way. They're like, Charisse, come talk to us. You're like, yeah, I'll catch you later.
I'll be there. Hold on.
They have done amazing business with us at Mix in Vegas. They're a great band. They have an enormous touring following. Kevin is the co-founder of Pilgrimage Festival in Nashville. I mean, he wrote Collide with Howie Day. I mean,
I love that song.
enormous talent. So over the years, we've become really good friends. But the first time I ever met him, I was like, I'm a fucking moron, and I just embarrassed myself. And he's like, who the fuck is this bitch?
Get out of here, kid. Beat it.
Yeah, exactly. Like, get this groupie out of here.
I know. Bring it in with the last one, Bree, and then
Okay.
we're gonna remind everybody where they can get.
So, who have you fangirled over the most when you met them?
Kevin Griffin, Billy Joel, and Dolly Parton. All three, all three favorites. One other fangirl quickie, Jimmy Fallon.
I love him.
I think that's the only time in my career that I was ever speechless.
I saw that picture.
I went to see his show. What's the band that Joe Jonas was in? Cake by the Ocean?
DNCE.
DNCE.
I went to see DNCE
Yeah.
at Jimmy Fallon, and Charlie Walk, who at the time was the president of Republic Records, introduced me to Jimmy, and I was just like, and Charlie was like, well, I'm going to say hi, and I fangirled over Jimmy, and then I was like, Charlie, can I get a picture? And he's like, well, why don't you just go?
I want a picture. Oh my God. I love that picture of you. When I saw that picture, because usually we're used to seeing you with all the musicians and stuff, but like Jimmy Fallon, you're like,
I was like, I have made it, people.
yeah, exactly. Oh my God. Charisse, this has been too fun.
It
And
has.
we already kept you way longer than we promised.
Thank you, guys.
It's so fun. And I'm glad people got to get to know you, because you would be working with this babe to actually help you kick off your career and make any changes. Or if you're starting a brand, it's going to help you with your career, and you're going to trust them with all of your insecurities about what you're worried about, knowing your worth and going after your dreams. I feel like Charisse is going to be here for you. So again, please tell them where they can find you online and on your socials.
You can find all of my blogs and columns like Women to Watch and consultant tips and things that I do along those lines at mcmediaonline.com. And all my socials are basically at mcmediaonline.
And thank you again for putting the show on the radar of the international music and industry site, All Access.
Yes.
Because that meant the world to us earlier this year when you recognized us for that. So
Yes.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys, and Happy New Year.
Yes,
Happy New
Happy
Year.
New Year.
Want to be featured on the show? Email us feedback at keepingitcasualpodcast.com.
Want to win cool stuff? Just rate and review us on Apple Podcasts to get into our monthly giveaways.
Last Wednesday of every month. And for more specialty podcasts and bonus content, join us on patreon.com/keepingitcasualpodcast.
Show you're a keeper on Facebook. You can like the page and join our group.
Tweet at us at KICPod or Instagram at Keeping It Casual Podcast.
You can find me anywhere at MJ Radio Diva.
And I'm everywhere at Breemixed, BREEMIXED.
And for your one-stop shop, keepingitcasualpodcast.com. Bye.